Hey, welcome back to the Fanboy Cantina, and thanks for joining us live today. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Creature from the Black Lagoon toys and well wishes for Mr. Ricou Browning. And as always, we're joined by Mr. C. Mr. C, how are you doing today?
I tell you, I'm happy to be back inside the Fanboy Cantina. It has been more than a little minute, and as we are gearing up for the fall season, Halloween season themed content and material, I'm real excited to be sitting with you, my friend, and with our viewers right here, right now.
Yes, no, same. And it's been a long time since the last time we did an episode, actually. So this is kind of like riding a bike, but not quite. So why are we talking about, maybe to tell folks about how we got to this topic today?
So as was just somewhat alluded to, as we have the Halloween season coming, we're going to have a little bit of monster themed content, some of the classical Universal monsters. And so I was doing some prep or some research or leisure reading, if you will, for the season. And as I was checking out the Sven Guli's blog, he was giving a description of the previous week's episode. And as you kept reading or scrolling, then all of a sudden it's like he switched from his breakdown of the episode to relating a story. Sven, there it is has a good contact in the classical horror community. He has conversations with Vincent Price's daughter from time to time, and so then I've learned he's also in contact with the daughter of Ricou Browning. And as it says here, as Sven had posted, that the daughter reports that he's not in the best of health right now. And as it says right there, to cheer him up, please join us and, maybe drop the man an old fashioned letter, written on paper. So I thought I'm going to definitely go ahead and do that because I'm a fan of his work, and I appreciate the motion picture and everything that goes with the Creature of the Black Lagoon. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. No, it's a great topic. And we'll flip it up again at the end of the stream here. But there is the address for Mr. Ricou Browning. Actually, let me do a check. It is Ricou, right? Because I've heard it said his name said as Rico, but I'm pretty sure it's Ricou.
I'm going to pull the Sean Spencer from Psych, and I'm going to go, I've heard it both ways. That is to say, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce the man's name. So that would also mean there's more homework for me, for us to do on this subject. We're not experts on his career. We're not experts on pronouncing his name, but we want to put a good foot forward.
Absolutely.
And try to put some positivity and some review on the man and his work.
Yeah, no, and maybe let's do that order like we talked about it, talking about Mr. Browning. And Mr. Browning, born and raised in Florida, and has done so much over the course of his career. He's 91 years old, and that makes him the last surviving member of the Universal monsters genre. I guess the Creature from the Black Lagoon was at the end of whatever was described as the Universal monsters.
Right. So now, interestingly enough, trying to align the timeline, if 1931, which I believe it was the start with your Frankensteins, your Draculas, definitely there were some horror films made prior to that. But if we're marking 1931 as kind of the beginning of the golden age, and maybe we're going to say the previous stuff was pre-golden age with a little bit of Phantom of the Opera and some other productions. But so he was born in 1930, right at the time where this genre of film is hitting its stride or entering its golden age. So he was either, depending on how you want to phrase things, he was either in a completely separate generation, or maybe he was the silver age of it. But I think most people would say he was from 1954, when the first Creature of the Black Lagoon movie was released, we would say that he was definitely at the end of the golden age of that classical black and white. Look at him there. Look at that. So he's if our math is right, which it may or may not be, he's mid-20s. So let's say he's 24, possibly 25 years old there, young in the world, and clearly not the lead actor either, right?
That's right.
Karloff, Bella, Lon Chaney Jr., they were all the leads in their horror pictures. And on the credits list, he's a good ways down. Even the creature duties were split, that he was the in the water actor or characterization bringer, the portrayer of the monster. They had a separate actor for the land work. So I just started to, I knew a little, I didn't know that much. So as we started to prep and look, he's got a really interesting career and a really interesting way about him.
It's interesting how horror movies have changed, and the universal monster genre is such a beloved thing. But you look at like today and what counts as a horror movie, it's vastly different. I've been watching the Squid Game series, which is I finished the whole thing. It's not really horror necessarily, more of a thriller, unsettling kind of genre. There's something comforting, I guess, about the Universal Monsters genre, period. And
again, my earlier memories of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, I definitely remember being scared as a young person by that. And that was Sven's movie selection last night. Not so scary at this stage, but yeah, it like under the umbrella of nostalgia, things that take us back to even before our time, or just it's a very good world building that each of these classical movies and their sequels and such put together.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know, and just to post it here, we have a comment. Yes, we both happen to be wearing black t-shirts today, and oh yes, Ricou.
Well, that's perfect, because that's what we're coming to say. This man, Mr. Browning, had a whole lot of suave.
That's right. That is right. What a nice transition. I'm actually wearing the t-shirt from our friend at Wistful Records. Gave me this Fanboy Cantina shirt, one of one here. Just back to Mr. Browning. I'll flip up a few things. So here we have the poster from Creature from the Black Lagoon. He had also worked on Flipper, and I guess he was one of the co-writers behind Flipper. He had also worked on a number of other movies, such as this one, Thunderball, and then again, he was, I think, the second unit director there. And he had also worked on Never Say Never Again, which is actually Thunderball, right? It's the same movie again twice.
So I've heard it both ways.
He worked on both of those movies, but they're very memorable for the underwater action scenes. So how awesome that he was a part of that. And of course, his son, Ricou Browning Jr., has had continues to have an extensive career in marine, based films, marine coordinator in so many films and TV shows. So interesting to see awesome to see the legacy continuing on with the Browning.
He might not have originated the genre of water marine based films, but he definitely was on the Mount Rushmore of it. And none of this stuff did I know. I mean, I knew that there were two actors, one for land, one for sea, in the original Creature movie and in the sequel. I had no idea who came up with Flipper. I knew Flipper was a big deal for movie and TV. And he, as watching interviews of him just in these recent days and recent hours, he was kind of watching Lassie, or his kids were watching Lassie. And so that some of those concepts applied there of the pet that is a rescue adventure series. So he brought those ideas to bring to his strengths of operating in the water. He had interesting stories about how they were training the dolphin for flipper, having his son involved in that. That was all. He's such a humble guy. He's not, oh, I did this, I did that. For somebody who contributed to so many different intellectual properties or contributed to movies and television in such different ways, really, really humble guy. It's nice to see.
Yeah, there's so many, and so after you're done watching us here talk about Ricou Browning as well as these Creature from the Black Lagoon toys that we'll get to in a moment, there's so many videos out there of him interviewing with fans. He's been really available through GalaxyCon and other events, and such a, as you said, a humble guy, and really has embraced the fan community. So. Definitely, you know, and if you're just joining, the reason that we're talking about this topic is in part to encourage folks to just send some love to Ricou Browning. That is his address, and you know, definitely as he's struggling through some health issues at the moment, definitely would love to see some love sent his way. All right, so let's pivot to talking about Creature from the Black Lagoon. Now, this is all your wheelhouse because, yeah, and we've talked about this on the stream before. Horror as an overall thing, you know, I'm a chicken. I do love Svengoolie. I'll watch it. I've talked about my trauma from Attack of the Mushroom People. We won't have to. We're not gonna rehash that again. But this is really more your strong suit, your wheelhouse. So what would you like to share with folks today?
I'll start I'll start here and I'll work around, and I'm just going to give you a back burner question to float on. In your youth, was it the case that Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein also caused you a little distress? All right, so here again, I'm trying to land. There we go. So this is obviously a miniature creature, but again, look at the fin work is really intricate. The gill work across the head, and I really like. Just look at him. I like the guy. He captures. I don't know how they make stuff so small and capture so much detail in it, but it's pretty impressive to me how they put a mini-size representation of the creature together.
Who is the maker of that one? Who is the maker of that one again?
I'm pretty sure it's Funko.
Okay, it was a Funko. Got it.
Yeah, I was trying to skip over that because I wasn't sure.
I'm sorry.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a valid question. I'm pretty sure it's the Funko. And here's the conventional Funko, which, boy, I just saw on eBay right now. I think it's going for $127 might have been what I just saw. You know, hey, sometimes it's okay to leave stuff in the box and try to sell it later on, but if you're getting a thing to interact with it or just have a display that gives you some enjoyment based on a film or a genre of film, not so bad to take it out of the box. Again, the really intricate detail on the fins, and you know, as all the Funkos do, it could take the most horrific character, and Funko is going to put some cuteness to it. So there's those. My somewhat recently arrived Migo. I guess I'm having the same stuff saying there, but here we're on a cloth instead of a plastic. Really good costuming work on the Migo. The same points of articulation that you'd get on any Migo. I'll get it. So he's swimming away from camera there, swimming back towards camera here. Atypical, I mean, typical Migo body, but of course the clawed hands, the webbed fingers, the face design are unique to this guy here. And even they have a bit of the cloth goes under, and then they added a bit of plastic here. Also somewhat reminiscent of the design of his actual suit that they used in the movie, but this is another real good piece. And
that's a really unique, if you could put that one back, that one's a really unique one for Migo, in the combination of plastic and cloth, as well as the on the hands. That seems like a really extensively built one compared to your normal, the fabric outfits and stuff.
And I'm trying to mess with his Velcro
Okay.
in his back here, which I haven't really done. But then, as I've just learned, the plastic that covers the shoulders and the chest piece, it holds the cloth costume, the cloth gear
Nice.
in place there. But yeah, I mean, so we've got on the arm. Like, in other words, for a different Migo, it would be easier to, if one wanted to look at the stitch work and such. But for this guy, he's locked into his cloth suit based on the plastic overlay. So yeah, he is that makes this piece unique compared to other Migo characters.
Can you imagine swimming in a full latex mask along with the rest of the costume? Like, well, one, I can't swim, but so I can't really picture swimming. But with all of that stuff on, and he didn't have goggles on under the mask. I don't see how he did it. It's unreal.
He was a better swimmer than I. He commented on that in some of the interviews that we've watched or that I've watched, is that if he tried the goggles, they would fill up with water. If he tried this, if he tried that. So just the best thing it was just a mask over his face and trying to align his natural eyes with the eye slits. So he would make the reference. It was trying to look out of a keyhole. So you're just trying to move around in general when you have a keyhole for your vision.
Right.
But now factor in that you're trying to hit a mark, literally a fluid mark, because you're swimming. You're not the only. Some shots, of course, were him only. He was the only. It was a one shot. He was the only person on the screen. But then very often he was with the other actors, and that makes it all the more impressive. And especially given that it's the mid-50s that they're doing this as practical effects. Well before the CGI advancements that we so often enjoy today.
That's right. All right, back to you, Mr. C. With
all right, back to you. Our last entry in the physical objects today. I mean, there's some reference images for other things also, but here are the Geeky Tikis, and we all between our group of friends discovered them some years back. But this might be my favorite of the Geeky Tikis. Again, the same stuff what I've said on the other items. It's just really amazing set of details. It's a fun way to make conversation or to add to the atmosphere if you're having, be it water or any other kind of drink, which you might fill a tiki mug with. And again, I'm trying to see if that little knot here he goes. He's got that little authenticated as if he were carved out of wood. They try to replicate a little knot in the wood there. So the claws, the fins. Let me be sure I highlight the feet also. So this is a really, I enjoy having the Geeky Tiki.
Yes. Which was originally going to be our topic for today. Just squarely focused on Geeky Tiki, but that is a really nice piece. It's very large too. I know they come in different sizes, but it's
just as a reference here. If here's a glass and here's the Tiki, I think it's maybe a 16 ounce.
Okay.
So it's
a good size. Yeah,
it's a good size.
Yeah. So I think we can pop up in the comments here. Hey, can you touch base on the 3D version black and white film that was on Sven? I remember my dad and I bought the 3D glasses from 7-Eleven and it didn't work, at least for us. Yeah.
I got to thank Greg for that comment, because that's exactly, you can talk about the creature and not cover that, but that was right. That was this major disappointment for all of us. There they are, the 3D glasses. Everybody was going to 7-Eleven. Everybody around the neighborhood was pumped up about it. I believe, if I checked right, the date was June 29th, 1982. So we're all right in the middle of that summer with the 4th of July on the horizon and all being excited to not be in school and enjoying our summer break. And this was going to be one highlight of summer break. And then you go to 7-Eleven, you get the glasses, you're waiting for it to come on. And just my recollection was my experience. Like, then it seemed like it was getting better. I'm like, I thought maybe back in the studio they were adjusting knobs and dials, and then it was going to be fine for the rest of the movie. But there were some brief glimpses of 3D effect in the works, but for the most part, it was a 3D failure, and it was an famous and infamous both. Only, again, in recent months or recent years, that I learned that it wasn't exclusive just to us in the Chicago area, but whichever local stations get around, kids. So Chicago and beyond. So whichever local stations also ran the creature in whichever other towns, there was the same experience of kids riding their bikes or going with your parents to pick up your 3D glasses out of your 7-Eleven or your neighborhood equivalent of a 7-Eleven, and for nobody nowhere did it work out. So we were all in the same boat with that.
Yeah, it was a total disappointment. I have the same memory. You and I think went to the same 7-Eleven on Devon Avenue to pick it up, and yeah, not so good. Not so good. I think, well, just other things for us to touch on. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. We do appreciate it. The lasting legacy of the creature from the Black Lagoon. And I'll be honest with you, I have not seen The Shape of Water.
Nor have I.
I know it's out there. I do like Guillermo del Toro. I haven't gotten to it for some reason. Swamp Thing does not have a tie to Creature from the Black Lagoon, but I feel
not any direct linear tie. I would just say in the most general sense of it's a monster. It's somewhat water related and it's green. So only in those, and the character is green.
Right.
Only on those surface level measures could we say that they're related. But yeah, obviously one is supposed to be a fish related, a hybrid fish humanoid kind of character, and Swamp Thing is definitely a different kind of a hybrid, but it's plant and not fish.
I thought this was interesting. So Friday night, just a couple of days ago, we were at some friend's house, and they have this outdoor screen, and we watched on HBO Max Aquaman. And I think you and I have talked about the Aquaman. For me, it's all right. It's all right. It's not a great movie for me. I think you liked it more than I did, but it's entertaining. It's entertaining.
I definitely did like it, and we could say I liked it more than you. Yet your point is valid, which is, if I remember correctly, in short, it's a lot of movie, and maybe it was a little bit overcrowded, and maybe it was 2 to 3 movies worth of topics, and if you had limited which topics you were focusing on and could have flushed them out in a little bit with a little bit more screen time, that could have made for a stronger motion picture.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine as an origin story. It's fine as a bit of the Mummy, crammed in with that adventure theme. It's okay. Black Manta was underused, or really, but I get that it was also an origin story for Black Manta. I thought this was absolutely wonderful. The king of the fisherman kingdom is King Ricou, and that cannot be a coincidence. It must be a nod to the actor Ricou Browning.
Somebody over at DC did some good homework, and whether that was Jeff Johns or whether that was somebody else, how many years ago did Aquaman come out? It doesn't matter the exact number now, but it's this many years later, a relative short fuse later. Oh, look, there was I don't even want to say Easter egg, but that was definitely a deep level insert into making an excellent reference to this actor.
I mean, it's perfect in that it's the one that looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon. So just perfect.
It wasn't the crustacean undersea nation. It wasn't the crabby guys. It wasn't Sebastian coming to sing Under the Sea. It was definitely it was the exact right match.
Exactly. Anything else that you wanted to share or cover with folks? Have we got?
Well, that was a tribute level reference right there. But just to look at the other iterations or other things inspired by or other things adapting from the mythology of the creature of the Black Lagoon. Well, right, just to jump within DC Comics for a bit, we had the Eric Larson created character of Lagoon Boy. And so, right, Lagoon Boy right there, well, he looks a lot like the creature of the Black Lagoon. He's a pretty fun character. If we're going to look at still within Aquaman, besides that one kingdom being represented, the Trench, who were well represented in the film, well, they're definitely a different variation, but you know, a humanoid sea monster with claws and teeth and stuff and fins. So there's definitely a inspiration attributable to Creature of the Black Lagoon. And as we just also showed The Shape of Water, the same actor from The Shape of Water, Doug Jones, had many years before The Shape of Water portrayed Abe Sapien, which people could find in the Hellboy comics or the Dark Horse family of comics that are related to Hellboy, as well as in the motion picture. Jumping back, Lagoon Boy has also appeared besides on the print page. He's been in the Young Justice cartoon. So it's the reach of the webbed claw is far and wide into different characters, taking some inspiration from the creature himself.
I regret you mentioned Abe Sapien, and I had not queued up that picture, so I'm sorry about that. But yes, that's another callback, another influence too, with the creature from the Black Lagoon. Well, all right. Anything else that we should cover for today, Mr. C?
I think we've got the most of the stuff down there, and just to again flip back and encourage people that if they were so inclined to drop an old school written typed paper letter and hopefully, you know, provide some comfort or you know, in plain terms, it's always nice to say thank you for things. And so if there is either a thank you that somebody would have to offer Mr. Browning or just say what his work meant, or maybe you were more of a Flipper fan, maybe you were impressed by his work with the James Bond franchise, maybe after seeing The Creature of the Black Lagoon, it had some kind of significance to you. So any kind of a sentiment like that would be a real good use of anybody's time.
No, absolutely, absolutely, yes, and that's a great way to cap it. I mean, he's had such an influence on many different forms of cinema in the James Bond franchise and the horror franchise. So, definitely, if you have a moment, reach out to Mr. Browning and send him a postcard and send some love, and if anything, just some positive vibes and positive thoughts. Well, thanks for spending the time with everybody here, Mr. C, and thank you all for watching. As always, thanks, and take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. And the information is down below for following us on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Take care.